make sure I didn't forget anything. There is one more drama-related thing to talk about. Oh, the judge recused himself on the Baked Alaska thing. Interesting. So I guess Baked Alaska does get a fair shake. I guess the judge said, you know what, I'm so fucking pissed over this shit that if I sentence this guy, I'm gonna demand that he be strung up by the fucking neck until dead. and then I can't be fair about it. So we have to find another judge for this, because I'll try to kill that motherfucker. Talk about Kino Casino, retard. Well, no, you're a faggot. I'm gonna mute you. Fuck off. Yelling at me. Get involved in the fucking garbage. Okay. Here, I was literally just about to, but because you're a faggot, I'm blocking you. Fuck off. So the PPP thing. Here's I haven't watched any of the streams. I don't give a fuck. I really don't, because it's hard for me to care. Andy Worski leaned off camera, and it is assumed that he's doing cocaine again. PPP announced that he has fired Andy Worski, and there will be no more Kino casinos in the future, or until that he sorts out what he wants to do with Andy Worski. And it's like, as with everything with PPP, I assume that it's fake. I just assume that he's full of shit constantly. And then part of my thought is, who cares? Like, it's Andy Worski. I mean, do people actually expect that Andy Worski is like on the straight and narrow or some shit? Like, I don't get it. I thought everyone, his name is Andy Koksky. How is this like, what's the controversy? Someone explain it to me. What is the controversy of this? I asked chat on the forum, what the fuck is the controversy here? And nobody gave me like a really satisfying answer, except that Andy Worski has apparently been saying for a long time that he's clean for 2 years. He's proud of his health. His boxing thing that he went on and on about was like his health and about his health and how clean and healthy he is. So him doing coke is like funny or hypocritical or whatever. I don't know how that's like shame on PPP though, is the thing. Like, where in the Bible does it says don't do coke? I'll look this up. What does the Bible say about drugs? No temptation has overtaken you except that which is common to mankind, and God is faithful, not to let you tempt him beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so you can endure it. Wine is a mocker and beer is a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. Do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. Instead, be filled with the Spirit. Teach the older women to be reverent in the way they live, not to be slanderous and addicted to much wine. But so even the in Titus 2:3, they warn you about winos. It doesn't really address drugs, though, I guess, unless you want to. Oh, the Bible, what does the Bible say about harming your body? Do you not know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells within your midst? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy that person, for God's temple is sacred and you together are that temple. Okay, I guess being a cokehead is not Christian. I don't know. I find it hard to care. I feel like this might be fake, because like all he did was he went off camera and he sniffed. That could be fake. PPP could be drumming up drama. Who knows? A lot of like Godwinson did like 4 videos on this or some shit that are like half an hour each long. It's just like, I'll wait for it to be over and then look at the highlights, I think. Watch the Cope video that PPP put out. Okay. I will look at this blind. I'll go to Brave, port it over. Deca. Okay. Deca. Where's the video at? It's not on his channel. It's on the alt channel. What is the alt channel? You have to like give me a link or something. It's on social. Oh, social justice PPP. Okay. This is like 7 minutes long. There's like 10 of them. Okay, hold up. To God, am I watching the Coco? It's a no-no, or to Godwinson? Nice try. Come on now. Whenever Pod Awful's involved, it's a gay op. Yeah, that's true. If Pod Awful, Jesse from Pod Awful's involved, it's fucking gay retarded shit. That's not worth it. Neither. I'll play this until I get bored. It better be fucking good. Okay.
His nose. Paycheck's going. Did it really? Did that really happen? It can't have happened.
That's fake.
Can it?
That's fake.
There's no way that just happened to me. Fuck. I'm in love with the Coco.
You would not be singing and dancing like this if he gave a shit. If Andy Warski's back on coke, he doesn't care. That's my take on it. Okay. So that's that. Sorry, that's my take. Okay, one more thing. I have one more topic to talk about, and then I'll proceed on. I talked about this at the beginning of the stream, and I've saved it to the very end. Art is dead. It has been murdered. And this was a couple weeks ago. I did cover this. An AI-generated picture when an art prize artists aren't happy. And this is the picture right here. Jason Allen's AR-generated work, Theater d'Opera Spatiale, took place in digital category at the Colorado State Fair. Took first place in the Colorado State Fair. So, in case you do not know, a group of people, I think Chinese, Japanese, Swedish, a bunch of Europeans, released and I don't know too much about machine learning, but they released a program called Stable Diffusion 1.4. And this is a way of generating pictures based off textual prompts. It tries to recreate what you put in as a text message. It does a very, very good job at this. But in the Stable Diffusion 1.4, it uses photographs. So, of course, this gets leaked, or this gets published. The first thing that happens is people try to train it for anime shit. And there is a package called Novel AI, which generates native 768 by 768 photos or pictures in anime style because it's trained off hundreds of thousands of images from Danbaru, which is a image tagging website where basically what happens, I think, is that content from Pixiv, a Japanese DeviantArt thing with tags, gets imported to Danbaru, which is a English-speaking website. The tags are translated to English, and it's mostly anime-centric, but there's a lot of porn on it. So when you take the program, it's trivial to put in pornographic terms and get pornographic images. But it works with everything. I have been showing in my background the different images that I generated, and it's a genuinely very impressive program in terms of the quality of the images that it generates and how well it captures your text input when you play around with it. And then on top of this, like when I type in horizon view from space of a planet and with a starry background, it doesn't do that great a job. But then I can take in my actual, like, what's actually more impressive than just the text to image is what it's called, is that when I take it's image to image. You can take an image like my background here that I took, and then I threw it in, and I said, I want an image that kind of looks like this, and then it understands that you want like a split. You want like a starry sky and then like a planet on the bottom. And it does a much better job of recreating that using that image as an image to image input. But you can also supplement that with text. So you can say like, I want this, but then I also want like an astronaut in it. And then additionally, on top of that, there's something called in-painting. So if you can take a prompt, you can throw in your prompt and then say, I want this. And you'll roll it a couple times, and then you'll get an image that's very close to what you want. So then you can take the image that it generated from itself, from the text, and then throw it into image to image and use in-painting to very, very easily take a black brush and brush over the imperfect parts of the image only. And then using the exact same prompt you used to generate it to begin with, you can re-roll it until the imperfections generate as you want. And you can continually take the image to image and refine it on top of itself to get something that is extremely impressive, extremely lifelike. And that is how the guy who won the art contest generated his image. He took a concept, he generated many different first passes from the AI, and then took the more refined images and continued to add detail on top of itself. And then, because it only generates at a certain resolution, at least for me, because I have a AMD card, which it doesn't work with at all, I had to then upscale it kind of shittily, just using an upscaler, which is why it's doesn't look too detailed. But if you generate the images at a natively high resolution with a lot of VRAM, they look great without any of the imperfections of the redrawing at a high resolution. And it's captivating. It's like, it's kind of gay to use a Harry Potter reference, but it reminds me a lot of Mirror of Erised in Harry Potter, because you're just sitting there and you're like staring at your screen and you're like, I want a picture of Haru Akamura riding a pig with a lasso and a horse in the background. And you get a picture of Haru from the forum riding a pig while throwing up a lasso like a cowgirl, and there's May in the background. You're like, this is exactly what I had in my head. You can take existing images and completely redraw it instantly without any effort whatsoever. And it's the kind of like, I just know that there are going to be people who download this program and they're going to be looking into it and they're never going to come out of it. Their life is shit. They're easily distracted, and just the ability to re-roll it over and over again and seeing what you want to see as soon as you want to see it it's going to like consume lives, basically. People like Dick Masterson are probably going to fall victim to it immediately. And it raises quandaries about a lot of ethical issues, because as it gets more advanced, it's not so great with photographs right now, but it will be. The initial versions of this came out like 6 months ago, and the difference in progress between 6 months are astronomical. The 1.4 is like a way better version than the other ones were, based on what I've seen. So it's moving very quickly, and photographs are going to be next after they've captured artwork and anime style and stuff. However, and I say captured anime, but that's not like the program. The Stable Diffusion thing is like a tool using models, and the models can be trained off data sets. So if you input certain kinds of data sets, you get certain kinds of images. And then further, you can very easily take a much smaller data set and train what they call a hypernetwork. And a hypernetwork is best for certain kinds of styles. So if you have 100 or so images from a specific kind of artist, and you train a hypernetwork using their art style exclusively, you can replicate that artist's art style with the broader model, which uses hundreds of thousands of images to understand concepts, to generate very specific images in a living person's art style. So I think that there's going to be, first and foremost, there's going to be a lot of issues regarding copyright concerns, because I can take an artist and train a hypernetwork on them. Anybody can. I say anybody with a GPU can train a hypernetwork very trivially off a very small subset of images to replicate that artist's art style almost perfectly and indistinguishably from the artist's actual 100 hours to make art style. So copyright concerns immediately. When it gets to photographs, you're going to have serious concerns about, from a political perspective, of actual people doing things that they didn't actually do. There's going to be a lot of misinformation. You're going to have pictures of Joe Biden doing whatever the fuck, and he's going to be super pissed about that. And it's going to be, when it starts happening to congressmen, you're going to have pictures of congressmen like kneeling on George Floyd, or obvious things that are more subtle than that, to trick people into thinking they did those things. It's going to be legislated. But then, and this has already happened already. After this program got released, there are pedophiles who took child pornography and trained models on them. So then you have images of child pornography being generated from life photos of, or models trained on lifelike photos, because the models don't actually contain any images. They contain the neural network. It's different. But they can generate child pornography from it, which is a crime already. And this happened within days of the program coming out, that pedophiles started using it to make models. And that's just like completely fictitious child pornography. But then you'll have issues where, both for adults and for children, people will be able to take faces and make deep fakes of them much more convincingly than already extant deep fake programs. So if your face is on the internet, there will be no privacy for you, and that'll piss off not just congressmen who get photoshopped into porn, but that'll piss off normal people who will then call to action. So there will be many different levels. You'll have artists complaining, you'll have the federal government complaining, you'll have law enforcement complaining, and you'll have the public complaining all at once. People are going to be super fucking pissed, and I am so convinced that you're never going to stop hearing about this already, that I firmly believe that this will probably be around the time that when we look back historically on the timeline of events from now, that we will consider this the end of the information era. You know, because you had like trench warfare. What was trench warfare? When weapons were sophisticated but mobility was not. You had issues where people were stuck in trenches shooting at each other because they couldn't move. What happened after that? Well, then you had the era of high mobility. You had Blitzkrieg, where mobility had increased, but weapons had not. So war moved very fast and the fronts were dynamic. And then what happened after that? We developed the atomic bomb. So now warfare was cold. You had the Cold War era of the nuclear era, where people were afraid of war because the destruction would be massive. And then we had the information era, where the internet interconnected all these different countries, and there was less of a Cold War or type situation, and one where people didn't really want war because they were online, they're talking to each other. Information was ubiquitous. It brought down the iron wall. All that stuff happened. Now we are in a different era. We are in a completely different era. Information has been ubiquitous for a long time, but now it's becoming less ubiquitous because we have machine learning programs and algorithms that are making decisions for us. So it's no longer you go online and you find what you want to find. It's you are guided by machines to what you want. And now it's like you have like facial recognition technology, and you have like information suppression and information promotion. Like Dylan Mulvaney is obviously being promoted by the algorithm, which is probably machine learning based. And then you're going to have image generation, which is also machine learning based, and that's going to cause massive misinformation, massive confusion and outrage and stuff, and it's all at once. So I now consider us to be in the machine learning era, where the programs that we have generated are now guiding society, not just information. It's no longer the types of wars that are guiding society and total war. It's no longer fear of the Russians and nuclear war that's guiding society. It's no longer the ubiquity of being able to access whatever you want at any time that's guiding society. We have machine learning programs that are designed to influence society, and that is now what's driving culture and stuff. It's computer programs. So yes, even if it's not perfect right now, it will get better. I am extremely impressed already by how this computer program works and how easy it is for a normal person to set up and to get perfect results that would take a human being hundreds of hours to learn and do themselves. And I think that it will have massive consequences that you will not stop hearing about, maybe for the rest of your life. It's what people have been expecting to pass for a long time. If it ends up being artificial intelligence instead of machine learning, I don't know. But right now, it's like we are now going to encounter a new type of new slew of problems that did not exist. It's a new field of like art and science and criminal behavior and law enforcement that did not exist a couple weeks ago. So it's a lot to think about. It has emotions very high on the forum. I tried to pay attention to the G thread, but the G thread is full of lolicon, and I know it's like people like to be cheeky and say all the characters depicted in this are 18 and over. You can view the prompt that the people are using to make the image because it's embedded in the metadata for the image, and you can see the guy is typing in like 10-year-old Russian girl in an outfit. So it's like, it's not even like he gets the excuse of, oh, this character is 18, she just looks young. No, this dude is obviously using hyper networks to try and train his program to make children. And I opened a thread on the forum to discuss it because I became very frustrated reading the G thread because it was inundated with child pornography or softcore child pornography. And it was obvious that the guy was giving prompts that you could take and tweak to generate nude images with very little He basically gave you a guideline on how to do it, and he was just giving outfitted girls because he wanted people to take his prompts and work with them. And then of course they're going to get posted elsewhere. But yeah, it's scary in a lot of ways, and it's very cool. But I'm also looking at it and I'm thinking like, yeah, this is like the death of art. This is like the death of truth in a way. Because I think I've mentioned this before, but I think that when machine learning gets more sophisticated, people are just not going to believe anything that they read anymore. You're going to have a picture of a man, you're going to have a literal video, a perfect lifelike video of Patrick Tomlinson grinding up black children into pepperoni in his basement, and it's going to look exactly like Patrick Tomlinson, and it's going to be a completely real looking snuff film of him grinding black children up into pepperoni, and you're going to think, holy fuck, this guy's a sick bastard. And then when they look into it, it's going to be like, he has no basement. This does not exist. It's literally, there's a birthmark on his arm that's not present in the video. And it's like, you're going to be like, holy shit, this is fake. And you're just going to stop believing your own eyes and ears. And people are going to develop confidence. Like, I trust this person to speak the truth. I trust this network to speak the truth. And you have to be very careful and shout out everybody else, because even if you see a picture of Joe Biden doing something really nasty, you can't believe that that's actually him, because machine learning is out there. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot to think about. It's overwhelming. It's very scary. It's very impressive. And it's unavoidable is the key thing. So don't fall to like helplessness or other strong emotions, because it's unavoidable. The only question is now is, what are we going to do about it? What are the practical implications of this, and how can we protect our society from negative consequences? How can we eliminate child abuse and stuff like that, without necessarily infringing on people's rights to privacy? And it's a big question. It's a mouthful. But don't get angry. Don't get all emotional about it and start saying the earth is doomed, or do and really commit to it. The Amish have an issue with genetic diversity. You want to go hook up with an Amish girl, and you want to learn how to farm, and you're really dedicated to that because you don't want to be in the society anymore. Do it. They'll take you in if you're serious about it. They will welcome you in, but you have to really be committed to that. So, but I did nothing wrong. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how much people are aware of it right now, like in my own audience, but I guarantee you will not stop hearing about machine learning or AI art, even though it's technically not AI because it's not intelligent. It's just trained. It's learned from input. And don't ever forget, by the way, that it's all made by humans. There's not a malevolent computer out there generating, child abuse looking material. That's a human being. That's a human being with a soft, fragile skull and squishy brains that can be blown out of his head. It's not the machine doing it. The machine's not evil. The machine's just doing what it's programmed to do. The person, however, you can kill them. That guy exists in real life, and you can kill him. Just just food for thought if you want to direct your anger productively. Okay. So that's my pontification on machine learning. In fact, I'm thinking that I'll probably use it to generate cool landscapes like this, and because my thumbnail art is so lazy, I'll probably, as a practical application of this, I'll probably make a cool I really love how I love how they look. I really do. And I'll find some way to make them, incorporate them into my thumbnails, because my thumbnails are so lazy that it's not any less lazy of me to use a computer program to generate a cool thumbnail or whatever. But yeah. So now, let's go into shill mode, shall we? Can I? Oh no, what's it gonna look green? Oh no, now it's spooky and green, chat. Take a look at it. I'll generate fat women. What website do you use? You run it yourself, bro. Google Stable Diffusion Web UI, and if you have an NVIDIA GPU, it's as simple as downloading it itself and running a bash program.